So one of the most common questions I get asked all the time is, how long should I run a Facebook ads test for? There's a lot of different ways to look at that, so we're gonna jump into that right now. Hey, what's up? This is Alvaro Barrios, Facebook ad strategist, and today we're diving into how to know how long you need to run your ads before you can feel confident in your results, right? You could be testing a lot of different things inside of Facebook ads. You might be testing different images, different types of ad copy, different audiences, different delivery types, whatever it might be. And so you can run these tests all at the same time, figuring out what is the best formula for your specific offer and audience and anything else that factors into it. But the question always remains, how long should I run the test for? How soon should I shut off the quote unquote losers and then double down on the winners? Before I even dive into that, I want to say that this is going to depend based upon a couple of different variables. So there are no universal truths in terms of this type of question. You're going to want to test things for yourself. So what I'm going to offer are general guidelines, but they are by no means universal truths. You do, at the end of the day, want to test out. However, these guidelines have helped me, have helped my clients, and in general, they are what works best. When you start running a new ad campaign, it can be very, very tempting to start running it within the first 24 hours, and you start seeing the results that you're getting, and you're going to want to quickly shut off the quote unquote losers, right? Maybe you're running, let's say, 2 different ad sets to 2 different audiences, and one audience is heavily outperforming the other, and so you're going to want to shut off that underperforming ad set. But don't do it. I urge you not to do it. One thing that I can say that is close to being a universal truth, but not always, but pretty close, is that whenever you launch a new campaign or a new test, you want to give the algorithm at least 72 hours in order to start to generate results. Why is that? Well, it's a machine-based learning algorithm, so it takes time for it to gather data, analyze what's available, understand your objective, and then find the right people to achieve that objective. So you don't want to shut anything off within the first 24 hours because the algorithm is still in the learning phase. You want to give it at least 72 hours before you start making any changes or shutting anything off. I have seen it time and time again where an ad set or something I'm testing is not performing well within the first 24, 48 hours, but right after that 72 hour mark, boom, I see the performance shoot up because finally the algorithm was able to catch on, it was finding the right data, finish its analysis, and now it's optimizing. So definitely give it at least 72 hours before you are shutting anything off. And then another way to look at that, that's definitely a guideline you definitely want to follow if you're doing, for example, a short-term launch, like a webinar launch that's only going to run for 7 to 10 days or anything like that. Obviously after 72 hours, that's when you want to start shutting everything off. But if you're running an evergreen campaign or a lead generation campaign that's going to be going on in the background for months and months and months, you may even consider running it longer, because I've also seen it where an ad set will start performing after 7 days, not just 72 hours, but after 7 days, it'll finally start to pick up some steam and get results. So if you are doing a longer term campaign, such as an evergreen funnel, or like I said, just an ongoing lead generation campaign that's always going on in the background, go ahead and give it at least 7 days, as long as the ad set that is quote unquote underperforming isn't grossly underperforming. So let's say, for example, you have 2 ad sets running and you're testing 2 different audiences, and audience number 1 is getting you leads for $2 and audience number 2 is getting you leads for $4. That's not an astronomical difference, right? Yes, obviously the $2 is better than the $4, but there's not a big difference right there. And so you might as well let it keep running and just see what happens after 7 days, because I do see performance shift after a while. However, if the difference is very large, let's say the audience number 1 is getting you $2 leads, but audience number 2 is getting you $15 leads, then yes, obviously you're going to want to shut the $15 one off after just the 72 hours. But kind of like I was saying previously, if the difference is small, go ahead and just leave it running for a little bit longer and just see what happens, right? There's not a huge downside to letting it run when the performance is very similar. Another thing you want to take into consideration when you're testing and how long to test is how much you are spending. If you are spending spending very little money, let's say $5 a day, that whole 72-hour rule goes right out the window. That is just not enough money to give the algorithm enough data to truly learn and optimize. If you want to really feel confident with that 72-hour rule, you need to be spending at least $20 per day per ad set. So if you have 2 ad sets, that means you're going to be spending $40 a day. If you're spending less than that, you can still apply the same rule, but you just can't shut anything off after 72 hours. So let's say you're running $10 a day per ad set, so $20 total, then just double the amount of time, right? So instead of 3 days, wait 6 days before you start making any decisions in terms of what gets shut off, what the winner is, and what the loser is. It all depends on how much you're spending. And really, with an ad set, if you're spending less than $10 a day, it's going to take a very, very long time to get true results. So I do encourage you to be spending at least $10 a day per ad set. I can understand that's difficult for some people depending on where you are with your business right now, but if you can, go over that $10 mark and you'll be able to get faster results and be more confident in what you're seeing with your data. All right, cool. So that's my advice for you today. Like I said, those are just general guidelines. At the end of the day, you do want to test these things for yourself, but that 72-hour rule has worked very, very well for the most part, in my business and in the business of my clients. And so I urge you to try to do the same thing. So let me know if that made sense to you. Give me your thoughts right there in the comments. I'd love to hear, what you're doing and what results you're getting by applying these general rules that I'm giving you right here. Also, please hit that subscribe button and the notifications. That way you don't miss any upcoming videos at all. I will be posting 1 video a week that will talk about different strategies or mindset shifts that you can use to improve your business over the next 6 to 12 months. So that's all I have for today. I'll see you next time.